Today I show you a game which I played just a while ago where my opponent was caught in the opening itself. So let's dive in. D4, D5, Knight F3, E6, E3, Knight F6, Bishop to D3, Bishop to E7, C3, short castle. So far everything is uh, pretty much standard stuff. I have a Colle opening in place. Let's continue. Knight bd2, h6, queen to e2, c5. So even here everything is fine, and seems like my opponent uh, uh, has a nice opening in place. So here I have quite a few options. Of course, my knight is looking at a juicy center square to jump into, followed by f4 would solidify my knight at that outpost. So that's one plan in place, but I do a slightly different thing in this game. So I see an opportunity to push e4 early. So why not? Let's do it. Okay, so this is an inaccuracy, a slight mistake. So there is, anyone who is playing Colle should know that if you are black and if you are playing an opponent with Colle, then you should never do this pawn push because our bishop is anyway going here, and this only loses a tempo for black. Okay, bishop to c2, knight h7. Um, the idea of knight f7 is probably to cancel my knight here and then get the bishop out and then go for a series of exchanges. But I continue uh, with h4 as the response. Um, so the plan is to take a good hold of this square at some point of time so that I can have these kind of plans working. Now comes f5. Looks like a good move and a good response. So e takes d5 and e takes d5. So here white already looks a little better. Um, the computer evaluation is around 0.89 plus 0.89 in favor of white over here. What would you do here? So I went for knight cross c4. The plan being, so look at this position. So these two center pawns are pretty solid, and it's nice to get rid of them for this passive knight, which is not doing anything here. And moreover, when my queen comes here, I notice that I have a check on the black king. So that's the plan. Knight takes c4. I go for a knight sack. B takes c4. Queen takes c4. Check. Um, there aren't much good responses here. Um, Bishop can't come because my queen would take it. Um, Either the king moves or the rook comes for the defense. But rook to the defense falls into knight f5. So a natural move here is to move the king. So that's what my opponent does. King to h8. Uh, I go with knight e5 anyways. The plan is to go for a mate in 1 here. So note that this square is undefended, and if my knight jumps in, there is no escape for the king. So it's a mate in 1, and somehow the black has to stop this. Um, my opponent played bishop takes h4, which is a blunder because this straight away falls into a mate in 1. For not the strongest of the players, I didn't see this mate in 1, to be honest, and I played rook takes h4. Although this is still strong and white is still winning with a plus 3.57 advantage, but yes, the mate in one still exists. My opponent didn't see this and he went ahead with b5, but this time I saw the mate in one, and it's knight g6 mate. Well, this is what can happen to you if you don't understand the opening theory. I've seen many strong players saying that opening is not so important, but I think if you don't know opening, you will just get crashed in the first 10 moves itself, as you see in this game. So here the mate came in 16th move itself. So let's revise the game once again. D4, d5, knight f3, e6, knight f e3, knight f6, bishop to d3, bishop to e7, c3, short castle, knight bd2, h6, queen to e2, c5, e4, c4, bishop to c2, knight h7, h4, f5, e takes d5, e takes d5, knight takes c4, b takes c4, queen takes c4, check, king to h8, knight e5, bishop takes h4, rook takes h4, b5, knight g6, checkmate. So I repeat, the point here is that you should be aware of few basics in the opening, and you should have an eye for mates and threats. Um, so just to repeat, in this game, somewhere around around here, after these bunch of exchanges, um, the trick that I went for is to get the center pawns up, and after I do this, I have a strong attack. And yes, I press ahead for an attack, and now I have mates and threats and all kinds of things happening over here. Of course, here there is a mate in one, but also notice that this is dangerous as well. So these kind of multiple threats put you into trouble if you miss certain things in the opening. So this is not a position that black wants to get into. So perhaps if we go back, I would say this move was perhaps very weak, and my opponent should have instead considered a knight move or a development move, something like this. Hope you like this game. We'll keep coming back to you with some Colle games. Bye bye.